I don't do intro either, but I probably should. Today we have on my older sister, Aiva. She's the oldest of... How many siblings do we have? There's 7 of us, right?
7.
So she's the oldest of 7 kids. So, I'll ask you that question because I wrote that one down. That was one of my questions. It's just like, what responsibilities did you feel like you had being the oldest of 7 kids?
I feel like that's a pretty heavy question because I feel like there's a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And I think that some people, there's like 2 types of oldest children. You know, there's the ones that are, they don't care.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's the ones that it's like, it's your career, it's your life mission to raise these kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mom and Dad were always good, always involved.
Yeah.
They always.
So you didn't feel like you had to raise us, really?
But, well, I did, for sure.
Okay.
I think I'm the personality type that was like,
Yeah.
just a mom. You
Yeah.
know, I always felt like I had to be
Mm-hmm.
be doing that. But as far as like specific responsibilities, I would say probably the biggest one of just like setting a good example.
Yeah.
And with grades and attitude, like everything, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I think that backfired because in my eyes it was like, I'm being a good example for these kids. I'm going to help them out. They're going to have something to look up to.
Yeah.
And then I ended up having conversations with some of you guys now.
Yeah.
And it ended up seeming like you had to live up to me. Or that with some of our other siblings, they felt like it was, I was loved more, or I was better than them, or like, and it was never meant to be discouraging.
Yeah, like,
you know?
not trying to make you look super good, but trying to set a good example
it's
for
like
them.
I'm trying to lift you guys up, but I didn't realize that it was going to be like
setting the bar too high or something?
a hard standard for them.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have seen that perspective sooner.
Yeah. You didn't
So
to me. I'm like
good.
the lowest, and then you're like the highest. I'm like the base. Like, don't drop below Rye, but try to hit Ava goals. Do you feel like you hit, or like, other than that, do you feel like you did a good job, or like what areas do you feel like you did pretty good at being an older sibling, and like what did you feel like you lacked?
Okay, yeah. I feel like my lack for sure was that my relationship with you guys wasn't brother-sister. It was mom-kid. You know, like I bossed you guys around too much instead of just being your friend.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I guess that's, in a way, that's kind of what I feel like I did good was like, I don't know, being there for you guys and trying to guide you the best way I could.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't always the best. I don't know.
So like you had a kid, and your kid is 1 and...
She's almost 2.
She's almost 2.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you changed, like, has being the oldest kid affected how you were teaching your oldest kid or whatever? Like,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So how does that play into... Is there anything like Mom did that you, like, learned from? Be like, okay, being the oldest kid, I would like Mom to teach me this way, so you teach your kid that, like, a certain way, or what?
Yeah, let me think.
Like, with, like, babying them, or do you let them kind of be, like, the guinea pig? Or, like, do you feel like you were the guinea pig and you didn't like it, and so you feel like you can't let Dolly be that way, or what?
I think in some ways I do.
Yeah.
With, like... Yeah, I think Dolly has a different... Well, I know she has a different personality than me. She's a lot more outgoing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think she'll handle it better. But whereas I was kind of like a shy person, I felt like sometimes it was hard going through school and not knowing like what to expect and trying to figure it out on my own because your parents can only do so much.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there definitely was an extra stressor, whether there was or not. I felt like it was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with Dolly, just trying not to set any expectations on her, you know, just let her be her and just know that, I don't know, that she's not the guinea pig. I don't know if that's inevitable, you know, if she's just going to feel like that or not.
Yeah, no matter what.
And in a way, she definitely is.
Because it is your first time being a mom, so I feel like, and it's her first time being a kid, first time being the oldest kid, so I feel like no matter what, you're probably going to feel like a guinea pig.
I think so, yeah, probably. But I do think there's so much good of being the oldest for me, because I was not patient at all. I was very
What are the pros and cons of being the oldest kid?
So, pros to being the oldest, I think, one, like the responsibility. Yeah. That can be a pro and a con in and of itself, but I feel like you grow up quick. You kind of have to figure out stuff on your own because you don't really have people to turn to. I think that it can be lonely because of that reason. And I would say because we were different genders. You know, like, I think if you have 2 sisters, maybe we would have bonded. But we kind of, like, gone in and out.
Yeah.
When we were kids, we were pretty close, and then we kind of separated, and now I think we're closer again.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think it can be kind of lonely because you don't really have anyone to turn to besides your parents. But
yeah, I feel like that was kind of crazy, like having a girl and then a boy and then a girl, because then there's like a gap between you and then the other girl.
Yeah, so she's like too young to
hang out.
Yeah.
But then she doesn't want to hang out with the older brother that's closer, and then I'm the same to you. Yeah.
And we just had different hobbies and
different interests. So speaking of school, what was elementary school Ava like? What was she into? What were her hobbies?
I was an anxious kid for sure.
Yeah.
Straight A student. I don't know, goody good, always teacher's pet. I enjoyed school academically, but I had social anxiety pretty bad, so that I feel like kind of stunted me from like having fun.
Yeah.
You know, because if like when you ask kids what their favorite part of school is in elementary, it's like recess or PE. Yeah. And I did love those, but at the same time, those were like stressful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel that. I remember like playing softball in 6th grade, and I was like stressed every time going up to bat.
Yeah, I'd get
I was
so
a sporty
nervous.
kid, but yeah, like I
Same.
could see how the nervous kids would be
Loved
like.
Sports, loved to be active, but didn't love all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved like all the way up until high school. I was that nerd that like loved taking tests. I'd purposely like not study before, so it's more stressful.
I actually
because
had a game that I wanted to play on this.
Really?
Once we get there, I wanted to like find. We could probably still do it, but it's like find. You're good at like naming the bones or whatever, and then what were we playing the other day? Was it me and you? That it was like something that ended. So it was like certain fears. It's like the name of a fear, and we try to guess like what fear do we think this would be. Yeah. That was pretty fun. So maybe I'll look up a couple like phobias, and we try to like break it down.
Yeah, I took. This is like skipping forward. Obviously, we're in elementary, but in high school, I loved all things medical and health so much. I took medical terminology, and I got to take it at like the college level in high school, so that was pretty fun. And I had a kid in there ask me if I was, what's the word I'm looking for? I always think photogenic, but
Oh, where you memorize crap?
You remember everything you see?
Yeah, I don't know what that's called. Photographic memory.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some kid, he's like, you have a photographic memory, don't you? And I was like, no. I just...
What do you do? Because there's different methods to memorizing things. How do you do it?
It depends on the topic. I think with, like, health, medical, all that kind of stuff, it's just a passion, so it, I don't know, just clicks easy. It makes sense. It all goes good. But for other things, I do I can't think of the word, but when you... I'm for sure a visual person. Have to put a picture.
Do you connect it with something?
Yeah.
Kinda? Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of an example, like... I think we do the same thing. So
we probably do.
Do you have an example of
Mine's kind of like... Somebody explained it like this, and it was like pretty much what I do. It's like... When I'm memorizing something, I imagine a house. And when you walk in the door, if I was trying to memorize... I don't really know how to like... What to think of. But when you walk in the door, you kind of just make it like a house. So in this room, if you're trying to memorize something, you'd put that room... Or put that thing in that room, kind of like a thing. Or I'll match it with something and be like, say if I was trying to memorize...
But I don't have an example. So
Did you?
One of the things I did, like, when I first moved into my house, all the light switches were different. Like, the fan was opposite of what the light normally is.
Yeah.
So the way to remember, I'd always say, fan is first. They both start with F.
Yeah,
That's how I know.
That's pretty close to what I do, yeah.
So stuff like that.
I thought of an example, but it's rated R, so I won't say it. But, like, at work, certain things to memorize things at work, it was like... It goes like these type of cabinets first, then these ones, then these ones. Mm-hmm. So it was like booty, foot, something else. But it was base, framed,
I do
whatever.
Letters a lot.
Yeah. Or I'll do like colors or like box rhymes with fox and fox comes before
and
this
I'll
and stuff.
Far. You'll go all the way to the end. Find something that connects it. Like, there we go.
What's like a thing in school that make you memorize? Or like the pi?
States? I don't know.
I remember like... Yeah, that too.
Oh,
but even like the pi numbers, I had to like match it with something like 3.1415, whatever the heck it was. I don't remember now, but
first three,
I tied it into something like that. Like made a whole story with it.
Numbers is a whole different thing for me. I'm way good with words, letters, not numbers.
Numbers.
I can't memorize those very good.
And then do you memorize what is it called? Like the Constitution and stuff.
Yeah.
You remember doing that?
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
I also loved history, so that's fun.
Yeah, I did too. I want to find a good history podcast.
I know it's hard.
I don't know where to find one.
Too.
I was finding there's these people. It's like Shane Gillis. I'll have to show you him, and maybe you know him.
Heard of
but
him.
There's a guy, Matt McCusker. He's a comedian. And Shane Gillis is a comedian, and they have a podcast. But they're like, Shane went to college for history, and then he played college football, and then he was also in like a ROTC type thing. So he's like the only, his like what's it called? His like your job. What's it called?
Career.
Job, like your paper.
Your resume?
Resume. That's the word. His resume is kind of crazy because he's like basically considered a veteran because he dropped out of the school, but they consider you like part of the military. So he's a veteran. He's got kicked off SNL before he even got on because they deep dove into his Twitter and found that he said the C word.
Oh,
I think
didn't know
was.
they did a deep dive.
It was
like
the
that.
racial word toward Asian people. That starts with the CH.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He said that or something. I think it was that. Maybe I'm lying, but and then they kicked him off. They hired him and then kicked him off by finding that. So before he was even on. So his resume is kind of crazy. He's like a veteran, kicked off, like an SNL cast member, and a comedian, and a professional football player.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, but none of them he played like good. All of them he has these things, but just like I quit this, got fired from this, got this. But so he talks about history, and I learned some stuff from them. But like I need to find a good podcast. So if anybody on listening to this podcast knows a good history podcast, let us know.
I'll read the books.
Yeah,
too.
I'll read the books too. I just barely finished. Didn't fit like we watched Pearl Harbor. I'd never seen that.
No way.
And we even went and checked it out.
You hadn't seen it
Yeah.
yet? Dang.
Because I was getting Mom's like, don't watch it without me, because she wanted to watch it with me, because I love the war movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she watched it without me.
Oh, I was shocked. I'm shocked to hear that because of. I feel like when you first get into war movies, it's
that's
like
the one.
that's one
I feel
of
like
the ones.
I would have been more turned on toward it, but people are like, it's a love, and I was like, I'm trying to see people kill, but then it was
better.
People were dying, and you know, it sucks that I'm going for that, but like, I wanted something more real than like a love story.
Yeah, but I think it is good because like the love stories were real.
Yeah.
You know, so many people.
Well,
had to
and now
leave.
being older and like, you know, having and then
relationship.
seeing how relationships react and like how I would react if I had to leave my kid to leave my girl or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was a movie that it reminded me of, and I don't know if you've seen it, probably not, but it was one called, I think it's called Brothers, and it's Jake Gyllenhaal and what's his name? He played Spider-Man.
Tom Holland?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire?
Is it him? But it was one where like the brother went off to war. I think they thought he died. So then she married the brother, and then he comes back.
Yeah,
so
I think I've seen that.
Similar thing. But he was like one of Tobey Maguire's best acting movies. He like, I'll have to show you clips or we have to watch it together or something. But that was pretty crazy. And then, speaking of war movies, what's a good one that you liked? I have a story.
I like them all. Like I don't really know. I'm trying to think of what would be my top. I liked. I don't know. I feel like American Sniper.
American Sniper.
I feel like that's a good.
That was a good one.
Like good intro.
Yeah, I think people would agree too.
What's the one with the brothers? Oh man, the one you like. Falls
the
down
brothers?
the mountain.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's called Lone Survivor.
Lone Survivor. That one is really good, but it was slower. Like I feel like if you know, what's the brothers' names? The last name.
I should know this. Marcus Luttrell and
Luttrell. Okay,
whatever.
so I feel like if you know their backstory more and then you watch the movie, you can see all the things, and then it makes it so much more.
I've seen the movie twice and then listened to most his interviews and read the book.
Yeah.
And I think I like everything else but the movie better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The movie, and I feel like sometimes that sucks because think of how many movies, or history movies specifically, that you've seen that it's like, that's kind of boring. But if you knew
if you read the book or listened to the person that actually did it. Yeah, I'd agree. I remember when you first brought Jake over, when you were dating him, we watched Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, I need to watch that again. I haven't seen it since.
That was good.
And
I think I've seen it like 2 or 3 times since. And then one of the first dates with Katie, we watched it.
Did you guys watch that? Fun.
That's a good one. What was your favorite part of history? Like, what about history did you like?
Oddly enough, specifically World War II.
I think it's me too. I really would. Like, I'd rather live in the 40s and 50s than any other time period in
Any other decade?
Yeah. I love that. Something
Yeah.
about the 40s, like the weapons, their cars, the noise that the world made. Like, not a lot of technology, but it's like technology is improving. So it doesn't feel like you would have nothing, but it's like, feels like there's still, I don't know. And even like the music, it'd all be cool.
Yeah, I think the 50s were fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But actually, I would say Oppenheimer, I know it was slow, but I'd say it's pretty up there for me of war movies, actually.
That'd be cool if we did like a timeline, and then each year we find a movie that best fits that timeline, or even like the story of World War II, like what movies to watch in order.
So I did do that with like, I didn't watch them in timeline order, but just picking like each battle.
Yeah.
You know, movie like Dunkirk, Battle of the Bulge, like picking movies that.
Why is it called the Battle of the Bulge? Because I was watching two things on it, and it still didn't answer. Like, I listened to it on Thursday, and it still didn't answer. Like, what? Yeah, was it because of like what they're fighting on? Was like.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah, I was watching all these animated parts. It's like 5 parts. They're all 20 minutes long. Still didn't know what I got out of it.
I literally took World War II for 2 years. Like.
I wish I took that.
You didn't take that with Johnson?
2 history classes. That was it. 2 histories, like history.
Took my histories every year, and then on top of it, I
didn't take World War II.
Dang, that was pretty crazy.
I took 2 history classes, and I think they were the same history, like history 1 and then history 1 again. But the second teacher taught it better. But the first teacher was
less
strict. Yeah. Wilson
does world history.
Oh, was that what it was?
And then you go into U.S. history.
Oh, okay.
I think, but it's kind of the same.
I didn't pay attention. I watched The Office.
Yeah.
I finished The Office in that class. He was cool because he's like, "This is your education, not mine. So if you don't want to listen, you don't have to." So I was peeping it. Yeah. But I knew it's weird because that was my favorite. History's like my
or whatever.
So just like going back, it's like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I would take a history class right now.
I basically do at work. That's why I'm trying to find a good podcast because I'm running out of things.
I'm actually pretty interested right now in like presidents. I want to go through each president, their full backstory.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to watch some of these like Kennedy assassination. I don't know that whole thing.
New
one on Netflix.
Yeah, did you watch it?
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I get kind of nervous watching those ones.
I want to watch it. Well, I don't know if it's like strictly documentary or if it's biased one way or the other.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Because I know it was like something about like the guy that shot him. That guy got killed on his way to the jail or whatever by like a mafia leader. I just don't get what the heck was going on. But then JFK's son is running for president. Did you hear about that?
Right now?
RFK, yeah. I think that's his name.
That actually does sound.
And he has like a weird voice from a vaccination that like screwed with his voice box.
No way.
So he sounds like crazy.
So is he against vaccines or is it like,
I think he might be.
What's his political?
I think he's a Democrat, but it's like he's like probably
not in the gray a little bit.
people listen to this are probably like, no, he's a whatever. But so let me get it right.
I was gonna say we hop on here, we're like, we're into history, and then people out there are gonna be like, you know nothing.
Is an American environmental lawyer and writer who promotes anti-vaccine misinformation and public health conspiracy theories. He's an independent candidate in the 2024 presidential election, so he's...
Dang. Yeah. That's what... Candace Owens has a series on Daily Wire called Shot in the Dark. And it's about vaccines. But it's not it's informational. You know, it's more because she had a similar situation where she got like... They call it vaccine injured. And
his voice is like kind of scary.
Really?
Though.
I haven't
like
heard
it's
his
sad.
Voice.
But it says right here that his party, like underneath his party, it says unaffiliated. So he like doesn't really swing either way. But I wonder how that will all go down.
Yeah.
He seems like one of the higher
I just have to say
picks.
something to the listeners.
Okay.
If any of you have kids and you're trying to decide on your vaccine standpoint, I'd watch that because it's very informational.
Yeah. And what is it on? It's a
Daily Wire.
Daily Wire? Okay, let me find some more questions. Did you get vaccine when you were born? Did mom have you get vaccines?
I got one.
For what?
I believe it was hepatitis.
Okay. Huh.
Which is interesting because after watching that movie, I took a pretty deep dive into the like FDA inserts of each vaccine
Mm-hmm.
and into my medical history. And on some of my charts, it said I didn't get it. On some of them, it said I did. But we ended up finding out that I did. But it was pretty, like, irritating to read because it was just, like, a nurse's notes actually on the side saying, like, we asked the parents and they had denied it. So we tried to do it while she was in the nursery, but Grandma was there and Grandma said no.
Wait, on what?
To get the vaccine. You know, so then they're like, ask a third time. Like, they're pushing it. And then I did end up getting it. And I'm not sure, like, Mom's not really sure when.
When they got,
you know,
gave it to
they
you
could have asked her when she was, like, kind of out of it.
Yeah.
Or something.
That's probably when they ask.
I think
weird.
So. But the weird thing is one of the, like, adverse effects of it is neurological problems and arthritis.
Oh, and you...
long-term, like, onset. So I can't say that it's that, but for the listeners, I do have arthritis.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that, but that is just.
And where do you have it? In your knuckles or your knees?
Started in my knees when I was.
You're pretty young.
In 2nd grade, yeah, which is kind of unheard of. Like, normally it's an old person thing, you know.
2nd grader.
And then it's just slowly spread. So yeah.
Yeah, you're like a little weather girl, because couldn't you tell when, like, the weather was about to change because your knees would get more pressure in the...
Yeah, so people with like joint issues or arthritis, the elevation affects it, and the weather, the pressure within just adds more pressure and makes them more achy.
So just coming up here, because you live down
I live
south.
in southern Utah.
Yeah, and then so the 4-hour difference, does that affect them like negatively?
Yeah, up here it's harder. I'm gonna jump all over. I have a bunch of stories, but.
Fine.
We're
on a podcast.
Me and my mom and Ryan's fiance ran a 10K trail run, and so I drove up from southern Utah to Salt Lake. Then we had to drive up to Brighton to get our stuff. Yeah. Drive back down, drive up the next day, do the run up the mountain. Yeah. Then drive down, then drive down. Yeah. And that was like so much elevation change. That. Plus running uphill, then the downhill is actually a lot harder.
Running on top of knees. So I'm dealing with a knee thing right now. Actually, I'll let you finish your story after, but I'll find what I have.
But anyway, so that was hard. And then we actually just went to Hawaii, and I don't know why I didn't really think about it. I haven't been in a plane for a while, but the flight there was so bad because it gets worse at nighttime because your cortisol levels drop and stuff. So the pain is always worse at night. But the fact that we're in a plane and you can't really move, and your muscles get stiff, or your joints get stiff.
My hip was hurting so bad.
And the elevation changed because we went up and then down in California, up, down in Hawaii. I think had we just gone up straight across, it wouldn't have been as bad. But so much elevation change so fast. I think the first 4 days there was like, I was in so much pain. I went to bed early every night. Yeah. Like and I forgot my compression socks. Those work a lot. So I wore those the flight back, and it was no problem.
Because I have a 10K in 5 days. Then I should wear them. I think because I just found out that I have bursitis. Okay. That's what it's called, kneecap bursitis.
Which, let me guess. Inflammation of a bursa sac, or what? Do you have bursa in your knee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says. It says bursa is a small sac of fluid that cushions a joint that helps move easily. Bursitis of the kneecap is inflammation of the bursa found between the front of the kneecap and the skin. Okay. Spot on. But yeah, it felt like a little... Because I was trying to tell Mom, it's like, it's not in my bone. My bone doesn't hurt. Yeah. But it's not like you can't see where I'm hurting.
Mm-hmm. Was it swollen?
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Okay.
And it's like you could grab this... It was like I had a...
Like the full... It was like a ball?
I thought it was like a cyst.
Yeah, they kind of are fluid-filled sacs.
Yeah. So that was weird, and it hurt like crazy.
And it's gone, or what?
It's like, I could probably still grab it. Like, you can see that. Yeah. I don't know if that's just like my skin, but like I can't do that as good here. You know, like that one's...
Yeah, this one's tighter.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm grabbing something.
What do you do for it?
I just did like...
You don't do much for inflammation, just
deep
ice?
blue ice and... helichrysum, I want to say. I think that's what it is.
One thing that they always say, I don't know if you already know this, but for inflammation, is acronym the right word? The acronym for it is RICE, and it's rest, ice, compression, elevation.
Okay.
So.
Elevation, like leave it up?
Lifting it up, okay. Like up on pillows or something.
I didn't do that.
But yeah, compression socks help.
Would help?
race recovery and stuff.
I just think they look so dumb.
They do. They look way so.
If I wasn't wearing shorts, I'd wear them.
Well, you could even just like wear them
Tape
the
it?
night like you get back.
Oh, okay.
You know, just to help with the recovery.
And also with that, I thought I knew a lot, but maybe I don't because I've heard both sides. Even like just watching like or listening to Andrew Huberman and then other people, they were saying like the order of when to do a cold plunge. Like, do you work out and then cold plunge, or do you cold plunge then work out then sauna? Like, what is the order of your hot to cold, activity to rest?
I feel like, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like it would kind of depend on the person.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With what they're dealing with.
Yeah, or what kind of... Yeah, because what does cold do to your muscle? Does it shrink it? Or, like, does it make it less... Yeah. So then I feel like you would want to do something hot before you start working out.
Even, like, for people that have issues too, like, for me, I'd have to warm up everything first, or else I'd be having issues.
So like, sauna first, then work out, and then ice bath because it helps with inflammation and muscle recovery.
Yeah, most athletes ice bath after.
But Joe Rogan
says before.
Ice bath first, then work out.
Because it wakes them up?
I think so. I think, that would give you a shock of energy or whatever, but I don't.
I wonder if time matters too. Maybe Joe Rogan hops in, hops out?
Yeah, I think he does 3 minutes at a certain degrees.
Okay.
Or,
Yeah. I don't know.
So I don't know that. And I feel like I should know that before I ruin stuff. So I stopped ice bathing.
Yeah.
I just do cold showers and stuff, but like, I noticed it does wake me up and stuff. So I was like, I would only cold shower in the morning. I wouldn't cold shower at night,
Yeah.
And
so
then,
you can go ahead. Do you have something?
I was just going to say, like, I don't shower in the mornings, but I do take a lot of caffeine. So if I could, like, swap it over instead of having a coffee in the morning.
Do a cold shower?
Yeah.
I think that'd be really
And how
cool.
different that would be, but.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
When I started going to school for physical therapy, we had, like, the therapeutic modality, like, room.
Okay.
With all the ice baths and everything for all the athletes. It was really sweet.
Huh.
And, I don't know, just seeing professional ones was really cool.
When did you do that?
High school.
It was in high school you did it?
But I would go to the college.
Oh,
but I ended up dropping out, so I didn't end up doing it.
Yeah. You ended up dropping out of that class?
Yeah.
But you finished high school?
Yeah, sorry. I did finish high school, but I dropped out of physical therapy school.
Yeah. How come?
There's a lot of things.
Like, I remember it was something that they required that you didn't feel like...
They did require vaccines, and at the time I didn't know how I didn't want them. Yeah. But it was kind of tough because it's like, that's my dream. Like, is it worth just getting them done? Mm-hmm. But since I already dealt with so many health issues, it was like, I'm like a, religious, spiritual person. I prayed about it a lot, and I just kept having the feeling that it's like, it's not quite right for me. It's close. Like, I want to be in that field, but it's like, I don't feel like my body can take that. Yeah. Because I already struggled with a lot of, like, heavy metals and stuff. That's been my issue, is detoxing a lot of that. And there's so much in the vaccines that I'm like, I don't think my body can take it, Yeah. So, that was a tough decision, yeah. It's sad.
But now what have you been doing now? Because you're kind of trying to get into that field.
Yeah, trying to get back into it.
Yeah.
So, in high school, I was heavy into it, took every class that was available to me, was doing things through the college. I actually got into the U, which is the best medical program in the state, and I got in on a special application that they only give, like, 2 out. Oh. So that was something I was really proud of. It was, like, a big honor to get that. Yeah. And then I decided not to go to college, moved down to southern Utah, and got married and started a business with my husband. And then I didn't really know what to do. Like, I was down there for a while, kind of lost, like, I don't know. I tried to get jobs, couldn't really get a job. I nannied for a while. And then I decided I may as well just have my own kids. Like, I'm just chilling at home, and I didn't need to get a job, so I had a baby. And then I think what sparked it for me was my pregnancy, my childbirth, and my postpartum were all really rough. I had lots of complications and a lot of things going on. Mm-hmm.
Would you talk about that, like, in depth?
Right now, or like?
Yeah.
Okay, or like, I was going to say, I would love to talk about it.
If I asked a question, I didn't want you to be like, that's too much.
No, I'd love to talk about it, but there's a lot to talk about, you know? So it's like. don't know where I would start.
Mm-hmm. Why were those three things rough?
Okay, so pregnancy, like a lot of girls, we get morning sickness.
Yeah.
You know, but there's something called hyperemesis gravidarum. I believe that's how you say it. And it's like morning sickness on steroids. So it's a morning sickness that's so intense that they don't consider it morning sickness. It's a whole separate thing.
Why do you get it? Just like your body trying to...
I don't know. No one has really ever been able to solve the morning sickness thing. Like none of the health gurus that I've followed, you know.
And do some girls not get it at all?
I think so. Well, yeah, I think everyone gets a little bit of it here and there. If you're not sick, you're tired. You know, it kind of is one of those things. But everyone just has different levels of nausea or tiredness or grumpiness or whatever. But this is like TMI, but I think on my worst day I was throwing up 10 times a day. Whoa. So it was like I couldn't keep anything down, but especially liquids or like fruit, you know. I tried. You
couldn't do those?
Like one time, this sounds dramatic, but I like showed Jake, I got a tablespoon of water and took it, and right after I just threw it up. Yeah, I couldn't keep anything down. And so I just lived on like goldfish and dry food, you know, and it's like so rough because I started having like heart palpitations and lots of problems because I was so dehydrated. And I passed out one day because, well, I didn't realize I passed out. I'd never passed out before. I went to grab water and I like lifted the water to my lips, and then all of a sudden I woke up a couple minutes later laying on my bed and I was like soaking wet. And I don't even know. It was like I looked at my water and like, but it was already empty. Like it had spilled all that time. So I don't know. I woke up and I was like, well, like, why am I all wet? Like I was so confused. And then I realized I was like, oh, I think I passed out and my head was hurting so bad. And
you're home alone.
Yeah, thank goodness it happened to be right before Jake got home. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. But yeah, he got home and I heard his truck outside. So I was like, oh, he's going to be coming. Because we lived upstairs. I was like, he's going to be coming soon. And when he got up there, it was like, well, my whole side of my body went numb and I had like a migraine and I was having a lot of problems, and I like was having memory problems. So this is going to sound really crazy, but I took French throughout high school and I was like so malnourished and so depleted, and what I didn't know at the time is people who have hyperemesis normally get IV therapy to get everything you need because you're not getting it otherwise. Yeah, and I didn't know that, so it was 9 weeks when this happened. I was 9 weeks pregnant. And Jake came in and was trying to talk to me, and I was trying to explain to him what was wrong. But some of the words I was saying was like French. Like I'd throw one in there, and then he looks at me like I'm crazy, and then I'm like, that didn't sound right. You know, so I said it again, and he's still looking at me weird. He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, my brain's telling me it's right because it is. Like it's the right word, but it sounds wrong. So it was just the weirdest thing. We're both looking at each other like, oh, what's wrong? Yeah, so he panicked and ran to his brother-in-law and wife and was like, something's wrong with her. Like, what do we do? Yeah, I just like couldn't freaking think. I felt like my brain was so shriveled up. Yeah. And it probably was because there's no water in there. But once I got that kind of figured out, I feel like it was lack of knowledge on that situation. But my birth, other than that, my pregnancy is really well. I did all the things right. I took all the birth classes. I ate really clean, really healthy, juiced, all the things, worked out, did yoga. And I saw a prenatal massage therapist and chiropractor and doula, I did all the things. But my birth, there's just a lot of complications. It was 3 days. I was in labor for 3 days. 2 of the days were at home, and then I finally went into the hospital because I was not progressing, I was like, okay, this has been long. And I don't know, there was just so much that it's honestly probably a whole other podcast, but ended up in an emergency C-section. But towards the end, it got really sketchy. We didn't, my baby's heart rate kept dropping and bottoming out, and they didn't know if that was going to cause permanent damage once we got her out. We had to have all the NICU nurses there, and there was meconium, and...
What's that?
It's like, it's poop in the water. Like, normally they don't use the bathroom in there till the very end, and I was over my due date, and it's toxic if the baby gets in there in the same water with it. So there was that, and that was like the least of our problems compared to everything else. I had something called...
And what was that called again?
Meconium. It's fairly common. I had something called an anterior lip, which was the main issue. And I don't know. It was the most painful thing of my life. It was kind of like an out-of-body experience for me because I was given 2 epidurals. Neither of them worked. Was giving a third type of anesthesia through the epidural that was stronger. I'm not sure what it was, but that didn't work. They were telling me they've never seen something like this. They don't know why it's not working. We think your body's just metabolizing the drugs too fast. Oh, wow. They gave me a spinal block. And they went through morphine, fentanyl, like the whole... Wow. They had to give me everything. And then even the last 7 minutes of the C-section, I started to feel it. It was like burning and stinging. Oh, wow. And so I was like, can you give me more? But I was already so high. And there's only 7 minutes left. He's like, once the dose hits you, you're going to be... I was high for 3 days after. Oh, wow. And he told me it was going to take you 3 days to come down because I had to give you so much.
I was going to ask, what's, like, the side effects of all those things that... Are you still working with, like...
Yeah, so the epidural goes into your spine. Spinal fluid, and it goes up your spinal fluid.
And you only need one, usually. Most people need one, and you got 2?
Yeah. Yeah. The spinal fluid goes around your whole spine and your brain. Yeah. And so they inject it. There's different layers of your spinal fluid, but they inject it into there to help numb you. And it's an anesthesia. Like, it's kind of heavy. So I dealt with really bad headaches after and tight spine. Like, you could feel it in there. It's kind of, like, crunchy. And when I'd, like, at nights when I'd wake up to nurse my baby, I'd have to move it around because the epidural kind of moves. Like, when you're in labor, they turn you side to side to get it to flow through. Yeah. And so I could feel it in my head. I don't know why nights were worse. I'd wake up in the night with a headache, and I'd have to, like, turn to the side, and I could feel all the pressure shift, and then feel all the pressure shift. Yeah, so it was kind of crazy. I'm trying to think of what did you ask me, Sparley?
Like, side effects of all those drugs. Because what's fentanyl? Isn't that, like,
fentanyl's
crazy?
Deathly, but unless it's, like, done medically and they give you such a small amount. Yeah. But, I'm trying to think.
I don't know enough about that, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but...
It's probably good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What
Recovery
is it?
Was...
Because I don't know what somebody on fentanyl in, like, a dangerous, like,
I don't know
recreational way.
I don't know a ton about it because, it's so potent that most people can't really do it recreationally. Like, it's pretty much always leads to death like because even just touching it can kill you. Wow. So, but it is really... strong, like, pain reliever or whatever. But I was gonna say, like, I think the scariest part was when, like, the doctor came in and was like, the baby's life's at risk, and we've known that for a sec. We're, like, trying to figure that out. And they had prepped me for surgery, but all the ORs were full, so they're kind of stressing, like,
OR's operation
we need
room,
to take the baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I guess I should have clarified that.
I'm just slow, so.
No, I forget to explain things,
That's
but
fine.
C-sections are in the operating room only, and all of them were full at the time, but they needed to get me in right then, so they were kind of panicking. They didn't know if the baby could last that long, so they were waiting, and my body went into shock, and I was just, like, out of my mind, and I was just, like, shaking way, way, way bad, and I just started throwing up, because my body just, like, went into shock. And there's so much adrenaline because you don't eat during labor. And another little side effect is that I have adrenaline affects arthritis because you know how adrenaline makes your body stiff? Yeah. So my whole body went so stiff and I couldn't move, like I couldn't bend my legs and all my joints got way swollen. And I also deal with the form of neuralgia, which is like nerve pain. Oh. And there's a lot of nerves, in down there, like when giving birth and stuff. And it was a lot
Yeah,
of
isn't
my
there like
nerves
the
had got-
most nerve ends in the human bodies down there?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was my cervix, and it was pinched off, stuck in between my pelvis bone and the baby's head.
Huh.
So I already deal with extreme, like, nerve hypersensitivity.
Uh-huh.
And so that kind of, like, once those nerves just got pinched, it kind of just, like, sent my body into a spiral.
Yeah.
And then the doctor was like, okay, mom's life is, like, at risk now. We have to get her in. And they also are worried about risk of infection, which I did end up getting an infection. And it took me, like, a couple weeks postpartum to get rid of that. And we went into surgery. I hemorrhaged while I was on the operating table, which means you bleed out.
Oh.
So that made recovery even longer because, I don't know, you have to build up so much blood. Like, for the first couple weeks after, I couldn't be on my feet very much, couldn't shower by myself because I'd, like, start to pass out because I lost so much blood. So that was, I don't know, that was pretty hard. I'm trying to think. And just kind of, like, a little bit of, like, sadness or trauma from the fact, I forgot to add this part in. It's kind of a hectic, chaotic story, but during the surgery, I was so high I couldn't, like, control my body, so I reached down to grab stuff because I, like, felt weird. They're cutting into me. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that I was reaching down, so they all freaked out. And they're like, don't move your arms. And I was like, I didn't know that I was. So they had to, the nurse told me, she's like, I'm going to have to strap your arms down. Because I did it twice. I just kept doing it, and I told her, go for it, because I can't control it. I didn't know I was doing it.
Dang.
And then, I just couldn't hold my baby right after, because then they asked me, they're like, do you want to hold her? And I was like, I can't move my arms. Like, I don't know how to.
Yeah.
Someone has to help me hold her.
So did somebody help you hold her or what?
Yeah, because I had to nurse her. Mm-hmm. So my husband and my mom just helped put her on.
Is it crazy? Because, like, you had never nursed before, and then the second they come out, you had to nurse her?
Yeah.
So did they show you what to do or anything?
The nurse is there to kind of teach you, but there's also classes, but a lot of it is instinct, and the baby knows.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, because
it's
obviously
pretty straightforward.
I was, like, out of my mind. They just put the baby there, and then the baby kind of.
Huh.
And there is, like, certain problems and stuff that you watch for within the next couple days, because sometimes they have, like, a tongue or lip tie.
Oh,
they
and
can't
that'll make
latch.
it so they can't. Okay.
Yeah. It's there's a lot about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because doesn't the milk change too? Like, your body will create the milk so it knows what the baby needs at this time in its life or something?
Yeah,
I think Mom was
it
telling
kind
me
of
when I was
bases it off antibodies, but when you first have your baby, when the milk first comes in, it's colostrum.
Okay.
So it goes from, like, there's different types. There's, like, fatty milk and then watery milk, and they call it, like, hind milk and fore milk, and there's a whole process with it.
Is there any benefits to, like, if I had breast milk, what would it do to me? Nothing?
Like, if you drink it right now?
Yeah.
Or what? Nothing.
Nothing?
You'd get vitamins and minerals.
Have you ever tried it?
I've tried it, yeah. I really believe when raising your kids, you gotta try it first. Like, medicine,
well, it's
vitamins.
weird that we suck off of cows, but, like, I'm grossed out and weirded out about a humans. It's like, a cow's kind of a wild thing. I can see how it's,
like, different at first, but I'm into all that stuff.
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me at all, so.
Yeah. I want to try it, but my wife's not some random person, but.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that humans could do that. I remember finding out about that. I went downstairs. Mom had, like, a storage room down there. Remember that? About breastfeeding. Didn't even know it was a thing. Oh. No, just breastfeeding in general. I go down there looking at books or something, trying to find books, and Mom had, like, this pink and blue book. Opened it up, and it first picture.
It's probably, like, what to expect when expecting. I feel like every mom has that book.
Yeah, and it was just the whole image of it, and I was just shocked. I was like, what? Didn't tell Mom forever. And then there's a kid younger than me, one of our cousins, and he was like, I like to sit by my mom when she puts the baby under the blanket. Like, puts him underneath the blanket in their shirt. And he's like, I like to listen. And I was like, for what?
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't catch on to this. And he's like, I like to listen to the baby suck the milk. And I was like, what are you talking about? But he's younger than me, and he knew.
I was, like, oblivious.
I thought it was magic.
They put the baby under the blanket, and the baby's sleeping and eating. Like, that's, they just want it
dark
and
under
cozy.
there. Yeah. It's dark and warm.
Nothing more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty stupid, though, with that stuff. I don't know how I didn't catch on to half this stuff.
My thought was, like, if I don't know it now, then I don't need to. Like,
there was no use for me to know it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that girls and boys had different, like, genital parts either. Because I was asking one of our cousins that was a girl. I'm like, do you know when, like, this happens? And this? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
my bad. Then my mom had to tell me, and then we had Charlotte. And then I saw, and I was like, what the? Like, I didn't know for a long time. I was like, at least 5 or 6.
I can't remember, like, the moment I realized, but I don't remember it being, like, a stark moment. You know, I think
mine was
over
pretty
time
shocking.
Yeah. That's how all my things have been, though. It's just I slowly clue on until I figure it out.
Because even with that maturation thing at school when you're in 5th grade, like, my dad shows up. Dad shows up, and he's wearing glasses. Dad never wears glasses. So I was just already in, like, what? This is like some serious shit. Yeah, Dad's looking like fucking professor. And then we go in there, it's all these dads sitting down, some moms, and then it's like some short Asian lady telling us about the boys. So I already felt weird that a girl was telling me about me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, now she knows what I look like and all this stuff. I was just like weirded out about it.
It kind of is like violating.
Yeah. And then I walk out and they're like, I thought they showed the girls the same video about me, but I didn't learn anything about the girls. So I walked out and looked at the girls.
Yeah,
like,
you guys know my
yeah,
secrets.
You know about me. It's like, I promise I'm not like that. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. And I was all shocked from that. And Mom's like, if you have any questions, you can ask Dad. And I was like, I'm not asking Dad these questions. I asked Mom more questions than I asked Dad.
That's funny.
Just let it be. Let me find some more.
Sorry, that was like a long
tangent. No, this is a podcast. This is the time to do that. Yeah. What was your favorite childhood memory of us? Your top 3.
I feel like I think of it more in like seasons. Like winter, was fun. We went sledding a lot. Yeah. I feel like we were sledding all the time. You know, like every single day we were out there. And then we got snowmobiles, and then we were out there. Yeah. Always. We used to live up in Park City. Lots of snow up there. Mm-hmm. And then.
Do you remember that a lot?
Park City? I have quite a few memories.
Because you're older than me, so you probably do know a lot more.
I do have quite a few, surprisingly, for how young I was.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm torn between summer memories and winter memories because summer is more, I feel like I could smell the smells of like spring going into summer and it's warm enough you can like take your jacket off, you know? And
the butterflies and then like those purple flowers that we would get.
Yeah, we had a lot of just outdoor 4-wheeler riding, even that was fun. Yeah. Or just night games in the neighborhood, dodgeball.
Mm-hmm. You remember how we got 4-wheelers for Christmas, like everybody in our neighborhood?
Yeah, that was
I never got to drive it. I rode on the back, but still. Like,
you were scared. That's what it was.
Was I scared?
Yeah, I remember.
Probably.
We tried to get you to do it, and you're like, no.
Well, I had like bad, because I remember I was on a 3-wheeler with Dad, and I still have the scar on my ankle, but I put my foot down and burnt my leg on the exhaust or whatever when I was sitting on the back, and so I was just like afraid of them. I was like, they burn. But
they burn.
Yeah, they'll burn you. Watch out. That had 2 3-wheelers, I think. And then everybody got 4-wheelers, and then
the mini.
The mini.
The mini.
Oh, that was the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had like.
Yeah,
we went through each phase of.
2 regular size 4-wheelers, like the bigger ones, then 2 3-wheelers, and then a mini 4-wheeler. Mm-hmm. And now we don't have anything.
Yeah, I drove it a lot, and then I tipped it once, and then it made Dad nervous, and he was like, I think you're done.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
I remember Dad was so stressed when I burnt my leg, because he told me so many times, like,
don't put your foot there.
Don't put your foot there. I swear I heard the noise in my head, too.
I remember that day really good, too.
I remember Dad carried me like a baby, running with me.
Yeah, runs you into that. It was pretty bad, though.
It was pretty bad.
Skin flapping, like I remember. Mm-hmm. We put you right in the bath, didn't we? Like trying to get
cold
water.
Put ice on it first. Yeah. And I was sitting in the sink or whatever on the counter, and then they put me in the bathtub.
Yeah, and Mom wasn't home, right?
Mm-mm.
It was me, you, and Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
That's pretty crazy. We have pictures here. We should check these ones out since we're talking about that. Okay. There's one that reminded me of that. Here's a summer picture of Aiva. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a picture of Aiva slip and sliding in our front yard.
I was going to say as like a neighborhood, we had like a neighborhood bounce house and water slide. And I think have a lot of memories from both of those, and they're lots of fun. Even our 4th of July breakfast, I know that's not specifically with you, but just like the community stuff that we would do. Yeah. Snowbird was always
well, we would do
look forward to.
We had family members that had 5 acres, like, I don't know, in a different like city. Yeah, down the road. They had 5 acres. We had 10. So we would do water balloon fights
yeah.
with them. The majority of people listening know what we're talking about. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would just fight our cousins with water balloons, and we would call it the bombings, like water balloon fights. And so those were pretty fun in the summer. And I remember the smell of the water balloons hitting the cement that has never been touched by water in months or weeks or whatever, and then it just wet cement is a crazy smell.
I was gonna say, even after rain, wet cement's just a good smell.
Yeah. There's one on here. It says, "Were you ever bullied?"
Do you want to tell this story?
I think I already have. But
wait, I want to just preface this by saying
you weren't bullied.
The bully wasn't really a bully.
Yeah, I just took it that way because Aiva. I mean, it was that you were afraid that a boy liked you, and I took it as this kid was flirting with you.
Well, yeah, but it was more of like, I think you actually just picked on the wrong kid because it was his buddy that was like trying to get us together.
Okay.
And so he was the one that I was like, because he'd always try to like force me, hold his hand, sit with him, like always pushing me on him, and I was like, no.
So I ended up beating this kid up because I was told that as a brother I'm supposed to protect my siblings, and that's what you're supposed to do. But yeah, and I regret it, but I beat him up.
I appreciate you showing up for sure.
Yeah. So I tried to be the man, and so I beat this kid up, and he was actually just a good kid, and I didn't understand it, but I went through a lot after that. His principal's office for a while.
Yeah, a recess battle went down.
3 younger kids. You're 2 years older than me, so it's 4th graders beat up a 6th grader.
Yeah.
And I didn't really beat him up. I don't think I laid hands on him. I think the other kids got him.
Tussled him a little bit.
I had a gang, and I had him get him. And when we were getting this kid, he was running laughing.
Yeah, it started out
It was fun.
fun.
And then he got tripped and pinned up against a portable and punched and kicked, so that was crazy.
That is sad. Like, I did feel bad for him because he was a nice kid.
Especially, and then later on in his life, I think a little bit harder things happened. But I got in trouble at home, in trouble at school, and mad at myself after that too.
Really?
So like a lot of it was kind of like.
But I feel like from my perspective, you did get in trouble because like you did.
Yeah.
Beat someone up and go to the principal office.
Yeah.
But there was a sense of like pride
for
Dad. You know, he's like.
I remember Dad telling one of his buddies.
Yeah.
It was at like a freaking dance recital of yours, and he was like, "Yeah, right beat him up." Yeah. It's like I actually didn't.
That's another thing I could add is that I did dance all throughout school. When you asked me elementary, Aiva, I
never asked you about middle school or high school. We kind of went from middle to high, but I feel like that was a valid.
Hopped everywhere.
Unless you have any, do you have any crazy middle school stories?
Not really, to be honest. I was like lonely, had no friends.
Yeah, that's how I was in high school.
In a tough phase. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Fairly. What memory of us still makes you laugh?
The one where you scared me under the bed.
Oh, that's one I thought of when I was going to have you on.
Ava's bed.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell my side, you tell your side.
Okay.
So, Aiva had a bed. How would you explain where your bed was?
When you walk in the room, it's like right up against the wall.
Yeah, right up against the wall of the
where the door opens.
Yeah. So, and you kept your clothes in like bins
under the bed.
And so she had the bins pulled out.
It was nighttime.
I don't know how you didn't hear me or see me.
Well, I'll tell a little bit of my perspective. So, I might have been singing and dancing.
You were.
I was kind of like in my room dancing.
She was in her own world.
About to put my pajamas on for bed, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw like movement. But you like crawled around the corner right under the bed.
Yeah.
So I like, oh, it's my mind playing tricks on me, you know? And then I stopped again, and I thought I heard something, and I did have headphones, right? So I couldn't hear
maybe, yeah.
But I would take them out and listen. And I'm like, I think I heard someone. I think I saw someone. I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then you could finish.
So I crawled underneath the bed, and then did I say anything, or did you just see me?
No, it was like I don't even think you didn't even get to scare me yet.
Yeah.
I just saw you, and then it's like a face in the darkness under my bed of where I was reaching, and it just.
Yeah, and I'm just
sent me
wide-eyed staring at you. Yeah.
I think you looked scared.
That's
what scared me. Is your eyes were like big.
But then you screamed, and then it scared me even more. I don't know if I actually don't remember really what happened.
I don't think you necessarily went in to scare me. You were like, I'm gonna spy on her.
Yeah.
And then I
was a big spy
caught
guy.
you, and we scared each other. And I was like.
And then Dad thought something was going down. I remember him flipping out.
Scream.
Yeah.
And did I start punching?
You threw a boot at me.
Yeah, I picked up stuff and I started throwing it.
Yeah. She's screaming and throwing shit at me. And then
I think that was the first time I ever said a swear word. I don't
remember what you said, but I believe
mad.
it. I would have too.
And I was little.
We were pretty young. How'd you even know one?
That's a good question.
Because mom and dad didn't swear around us.
No.
And even now, like, I hear mom and dad swear more. It's like, is it because I'm older, or did they just freaking let go?
They let loose.
Yeah, let loose.
I don't know.
But that was a good time. What about a positive memory of me and you? Me scaring the shit out of you.
Do you have one off the top of your head?
Favorites?
I'm trying to think.
I remember there was one time, Mom, because we had a storage room downstairs. I don't know if you remember this. We had a storage room downstairs with all of our food and all of our milk. Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Yeah.
And then Dad had a workout set, and there was like this pin that you use when you're doing...
Setting the weight.
You're setting the weight. And so we took that pin because we needed a tool to open up this box of milk. We had a bunch of milk in these cartons in a box.
It was like shelf-stable milk.
Yeah. And we used that little pin to cut open, but we poked through all the milk.
Yeah, we used it to try to like crack the box.
It open.
Because we couldn't pull it. It was really tight. And then, what did I do? Or did
I think you did.
And I just, with all my might, shoved it, slipped, and they went through all the milk cartons.
Yeah. And they were skinny this way. If we would have went the other way, we only got one milk carton, but we got
every single
4 milk cartons with this pin. Then we pull it out, and then it's just milk spraying all over the floor.
And then we both just sat and stared at it for a second, like, what do we
do?
What are we
doing? Mom's gonna kill us.
It was a big box. Like, it was multiple
There's
cartons.
There's a lot of milk. It was going.
It was a lot.
I remember that was pretty crazy. Thinking back, it's funny, but it's one of those ones I was like, I don't know why it's like scared me. Like, what was I afraid of?
We both panicked. Yeah, I don't know what was.
I was like, Mom, no, the milk. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else. I should have thought more about it before we got on. We've been together the longest out of all of our siblings. I don't know how we... I thought there would have been like a snowbird story, but nothing too...
I know. I'm thinking...
crazy happened.
We're pretty mild kids, you know?
Yeah, I don't think we did anything too bad. I think we're playing with micro machines here in this picture. Like the little cars. But, this picture, did I pick this picture or you did?
You did.
I don't know if there's even a story behind this picture. There's a snowbird picture. What was your favorite snowbird trip?
I feel like there's no way I could answer that, but around this time, we did a lot of...
boondoggles.
Boondoggles, yeah. I don't know if... Is that just a universal term?
A boondoggle?
Yeah. Does everyone know what that
maybe.
is? Okay. But...
It's like a loom. How would you explain it?
I don't know.
It's like you weave a keychain, a boondoggle.
Yeah, kind of a keychain,
I think it is a boondoggle. Like, I think it's universal. Okay. It's like Orbeez, like where other companies made things that were like...
knockoffs?
Like water beads.
Okay.
But it's like Orbeez. People know what you mean when you say Orbeez.
But with this, I have to finish this real quick. Okay. With this picture, one of those times we hiked up to a pretty big waterfall. And do you remember we saw the moose?
Oh, yeah.
And we got to bring our friends with us on that one. We brought Harry and all them, and that was fun.
That was fun. Let's see. This one.
Sobeys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a big part of our life.
Every year What was your flavor? What did you get?
Ooh.
I feel like it was either strawberry banana or pina colada.
Mine was pink.
Mine was pina colada.
Yeah.
Okay, you were strawberry banana.
Pink guy, yeah.
What happened to
those?
those?
I was about to ask you the same thing. I remember there was something happening to them, and so Grandma Judy
bought a ton.
Fuck ton, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's like an unlocked memory right there.
Oh, speaking of that, you guys would lie to us like crazy. Me and Philly, you guys would be like, if you do this for us, we'll buy you a pack of Pokemon or a pack of gum.
Always,
or we were into like the Trident gum that was like layered. Like that came out.
That
so
came out. I remember we hyped that up. Each flavor.
The flavors were crazy. And we never got any of that.
I think one time we finally caved and were like, okay, we actually will get you guys one.
Yeah,
because we
I might have got gum.
We owe you 60, but we'll get you one.
Yeah. Yeah. You got us good. What is something you wish more people knew about you?
Probably one of the things is that I do like to talk. Like, that sounds kind of dumb, but I feel like I'm always painted as like a shy, quiet person.
Same.
And I am quiet or like kind of calm. I'm not way like outgoing and wild necessarily. But I feel like because of that, sometimes I get left out of out of things, you know? And I actually don't like that, and it bothers me, so.
Yeah.
I do like to be involved. I do like to talk. I do like to hang out.
But it's like, I won't talk, and then I get comfy around you, and then I'll talk your head off.
Yeah,
so it's like, do you really want that? Let's see. What's the most rebellious thing you've ever done?
I'm the least rebellious person ever, so.
I'm curious what you think is, like, rebellious. I'm not either.
It was
like,
never
I did,
my
like,
thing.
Dumb vape and drink underage.
I technically did do that, which shocks me, because it was never, I wasn't, like, looking forward to it or trying to find it. It was just,
Me neither.
I feel like I was a little bit mature, or, you know, I was like,
How old were you the first time you drank?
I can't even remember. I thought
18 or something?
I think I might have been 17. But I didn't, like, get drunk. I just tried it, and then...
Yeah. I think I was 17 as well.
No, I wasn't way hyped in, like, the drinking scene. Or, you know, it wasn't way my thing, but... What? I don't remember. What was the question?
What was it? What's the most rebellious thing you've ever done?
I know there's something. It's, like, right there.
Did you ever sneak out?
No, actually. I always wanted to. Like, I always thought I would. And I don't...
I think I did.
I don't think I ever did.
Well, one time... I don't even think I did, actually. But one time we camped out outside and then snuck outside of there and, like, just messed around, like, our outside, you know?
I guess I did, like, the worst thing would probably be, the worst words today in my brain is thinking transportation. Trespassing.
Yeah.
I would do that kind of a lot, you know, just get the little thrill of, like,
jump on someone's fence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing much.
Who would you want to give the eulogy at your funeral?
I don't know. Probably my kids.
That's what I was going to say, Dolly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably agree. I don't even have kids, but I'd be like, yeah. Or if I die before my significant other, then maybe.
Yeah. Anyone who... I don't care if even my siblings
at the end of your life,
my parents probably won't be there, but
yeah,
that's sad. But they can speak if they want.
Yeah, you know that saying? It's like there's gonna be a friend that goes to all of your funerals, but no one goes to theirs.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's a dark thing to think about. Yeah, you need to get more friends if that's the case.
Yeah, I'd never be the last one.
Yeah, get some older and younger friends.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of death, what's something that scares you now that you hope you? What's something that scares you now that you hope you do before you die? What's something scary, but that you hope you do it?
I never had the desire to skydive, but I think I might.
Now you do?
Which is weird because that is so not me.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, I wonder.
I want to do it again, but it does make it harder. Like, this is sad to think about, but it's like, it does make it harder now having people that are like...
Love.
Yeah.
Like you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'll lose things actually.
That's how, I do wish I would have done it before. I was like, not in the right place to do it. You know, I was way too.
But because
scared,
like, think about how crazy that is though. Like, I'm putting my whole life.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of times that you bet your life, except for when you drive in a car, because people say every time you get in a car. Yeah. Every day waking up and going back to bed.
Dude,
but
Hawaii was rough for me. The plane ride.
Were you scared?
Scared of flying, dude, the whole time. Panic attack the whole time because I'm afraid of planes for one.
Yeah.
Which is. I've been on them like 6 times, so how? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But this time, having a kid was just so different. It was like, I don't have a will. Like, what if I die? Where does she go? Because our whole family was on there.
Yeah, that is pretty sketchy.
That's why I just was like,
that would probably make me scared too.
Real. That was the only thing. Is just, yeah, anything risky with kids is like, dang, I don't know if it's worth it.
What was I gonna say?
But I also feel like, I don't know if I have a huge fear. Like, I do try to beat them all. You know, like heights was a fear, so I went out and kind of did that.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm still afraid of heights. Like Cannibal at Lagoon, the amusement park in Salt Lake, is like...
Yeah.
I'm afraid of that every time. Same with like skydiving too. It's like, since I did it once, people ask me, so are you not afraid now? It's like, no, I'm scared every time because I'm putting my life on the line every single time. Until that parachute opens up, I'm afraid. So it's like, and then when I jumped, I totally forgot that I even have to wait for this parachute to open. Yeah. All of a sudden, I just feel my armpits get yanked, and I had blood blisters.
Yeah.
It yoinked my shit, and then I totally forgot about it. And the dude like pat me. He's like, dude, look up. And we looked up, and he's like, it opened. He's like, we live to see another day or something weird like that. And I was like, that's the scariest thing you could have said, yeah. Then he let me like control the thing,
Mm-hmm.
If you pull these, you go left, right. If you pull them both at the same time, you like lose gravity. And then we fell again. That was scarier
that's crazy.
That was scarier than jumping out of the plane.
Backwards?
Yeah, backwards sketch.
Yeah.
But like even when we jumped out, it was kind of like we're falling down and he's doing flips and shit.
Oh.
I like blacked out. Like I was closing my eyes. They're like, you're supposed to tuck your legs back, and then keep your like his legs are open and you're supposed to tuck your legs in between his and keep them bent until he says you can open them.
Oh, that's interesting.
I did not do that.
Oh.
And then he's like, keep your head back on his shoulder.
A lot of people don't because you freeze.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I was just out of it. I was like, it was crazy. If you could have seen me, I'd be like, holy shit. That's some sad. You'd have thought I was I was not alive there. Then like the sun's in my eyes and I'm all like, what is going on? Yeah.
Woozy.
Then the chick's in front of me. Like she's falling and she's just right there with the camera. I was like, what the hell? How'd you get here? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's like, do a pose. And I couldn't really hear what she was saying.
And what are you...
I just flipped her off.
Oh.
Both fingers up.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like to see if you're okay.
Oh, I was like,
yeah.
how are you
have to do two hand signals. They told us that before.
Okay.
They're like, get like away with both hands or 2 thumbs up or 2 of something. I guess. Nice. I hit 2 middle fingers.
That's probably why she lost your stuff.
That's probably why. She's like, you flipped me off. We're in Utah. You're not allowed to do that. But, yeah, she's a nice lady. But also, if I died and didn't have it on camera, that would have sucked. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did all that just to not get it on video. That was my whole thing. I'm a big video guy, so.
Yeah, that's kind of what you went for.
Getting that. Yeah.
But now that I think about it, I'm like, is that the answer? You know?
Yeah.
To that question, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of that, let's see. If there was speaking of planes, if there was a trip that me and you, if there was a dream vacation that me and you could go on, where would we go?
I don't know why, but immediately the first thought that popped in my head was backpacking.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that kind of odd?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like... What would you say?
I want to say... Actually, I don't know. I always thought of wherever the hell Selena Gomez went in freaking that one movie.
What?
I was thinking about...
Oh, Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, yeah.
Oh, really? We should do that. That'd be a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would just enjoy...
Paris.
I would love to do a Europe trip.
Yeah.
But I don't know why for some reason the first thought that popped in my head was like backpacking, like campfire stories, hammocking, kind of more of like a nostalgic.
Uh-huh. I thought you were going to say snowbird when you're like, I don't know why, but the first thing popped in my head, I thought you were going to say snowbird.
I mean, mountains.
That would make the most sense, but yeah. Because this picture is snowbird, this picture is snowbird, snowbird.
Yeah, we didn't camp a whole ton, but we did love being in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Park City, Snowbird, Heber areas, you know?
Mm-hmm. So let's see, we got some birthday ones, and it was your birthday. Oh, should we chat about this one real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what you remember from this. We have this little plastic purple swimming pool.
I don't know where this is at. What house?
What in the world?
I don't know. You can go
It's
ahead
not Talise's, is it? Remember her Riverton one?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. Well.
It looks like there's like a tree right here in the shadow.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, you can tell your story. Well, real quick, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I remember that.
The floaty? Hey, you tell as much as you know about this pool. Do you have any memories of the pool?
Well, we turned it into a ball pit for a while there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we showed the people. Did we show them? Can they see that at all?
Maybe I'll add it. Camera's that.
Can't really see. Yeah. But anyway, I feel like this was the first... I don't know when these came out. Like, were invented, but I feel like they were like new at this time. Yeah. And it was like way cool because it had...
Put the pool in our basement because our basement wasn't finished yet. Do we have water in it?
No. We have toys.
Toys? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I ran down, slipped on the slide, I think. And then in the basement of our house, it was just like the foundation of our house. And it had like these like metal rods. I don't know what they're used for. Just like the rods sticking out of the house.
But it was actually the ones that were folded up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means.
So just like these rusty metal rods hanging out, just part of like the foundation, whatever. And I slipped and scraped the back of my ear on that rod thing sticking out because I slipped on the slide or whatever.
Yeah, your head like bashed the wall and cut your ear.
Yeah, so I was bleeding everywhere. So that was pretty sketchy.
It was a deep. When you get injuries, you get them. You know what I mean? Yeah. You go hard.
Yeah, I don't always get them, but when I do, it's pretty crazy. We have a lot of wild stories, actually, of our basement. Remember that one time we went downstairs and there's what we thought was a shoelace on the ground. We went downstairs and then we thought there was a shoelace on the floor. It was a thick snake. Why did we ever think that was a shoelace? Whole ass garter snake.
I don't know. And also, that's not the first time we had one in the house.
Yeah.
So what were we?
I don't know.
We went to pick it up. We were just like, oh.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So then Dad had to come down with a shovel.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
And then pick it up and then bring it outside.
I don't know what we were thinking.
How did it get in there?
We had a lot in the basement. I don't know. For a while. That's so crazy.
Because now the basement is finished.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen a snake. They just have more places to hide. They're probably down there. No. How do you think they got in there?
I think a big part, though, was we had so much field and so much land in the backyard.
Yeah.
And now that's, like, developed.
It's all developed, not really. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot.
Same thing with mice, field mice coming through.
We used to have foxes. Remember foxes?
Deer.
A lot of deer. Remember one time there was a deer leg.
We have some cool...
Yeah.
No way.
Deer leg. And remember how Dad shared a garden with Rod back here?
Yeah, it was like
a community garden in our neighborhood. We had 10 acres. We grew up on 10 acres, and we had a community garden. There's a deer foot in the garden.
Oh.
We go up to it. Dad's like, do not touch it. I'm going to take care of it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, do not touch it, whatever.
You touched it?
And I touched it. And then he flipped out, ran me home, carrying me. I don't know why he freaked out so bad, but...
Did it look like
it was all bloody.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I touched the bone.
Oh.
I was like, is this bone or is this still part of, like, the deer's foot? It was bone. And so I touched it, and then Dad washed my hands with freaking bleach or something crazy.
No way.
Something wild he washed my hands with. We'll have to ask him about it, see if he remembers. But I remember he putting some stuff on my hands, and I was like, yo, I don't know if this is meant to be in our hands.
I don't remember that, actually.
I remember pinned me, he lifted me up, and you know how they pin you up against the counter? Yeah, that shit hurted.
I know.
But then he washed my hands, and he grabbed them and scrubbed them together. He was flipping out. That was pretty crazy. But... And then, let's see, you had a birthday picture.
Oh, yeah, my 6th birthday. We had just built our house. You can actually see the unfinished...
You can probably see the damn rod
walls in the basement, yeah. And...
You said that was your favorite birthday?
Yeah, it was my biggest birthday. It wasn't even my, like, golden birthday or anything, but it was... I don't know if it was the first birthday in this house, but first or second... And I just invited, like, every girl that I knew my age. And I loved dressing up at the time. And my mom got me this Tinkerbell dress. And we played games and so many presents and, like, all the things. You know, like a basic, like, dream birthday party. Mm-hmm. And I think about that moment a lot because there's a lot of people there and it was...
I slightly remember it. I don't know if I was just, like, not allowed down there.
I don't think so. I might have been, like, girls only,
girls
you know.
Yeah.
But I remember just being in my dress with my matching shoes and waiting at the door and people are knocking like, oh, let them in, you know. And they come in with their gifts, so yeah.
How many of those kids did you, like, still hang out with or kept in your life? Good amount of them, you think?
Yeah, right off the bat, you can see Ellen right there.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, but over, like, I almost want to say it's kind of like a 5-year span. Like, I drop one. So I don't want to say drop because they are still my friends, but I don't hang out with all of them.
Yeah. Who was the best, or what's it called? Who was your maid of honor at your wedding?
I didn't choose one.
Did you really?
I kind of told them, like, you're all honorary. Because here's the thing with that. Now that you're in it, how do you choose? Because it's like, my sisters were in it, and obviously they're family. Mm-hmm. Or do you choose your friend that you've known the longest? But I've known them all the same amount of time. I think the person that had, like, the
biggest impact on my life, probably.
On your life?
Yeah, my whole life.
Okay, that's tough. Because I also didn't know. Like, who was there for me when I went through my breakup with my husband?
Yeah.
Was one person mainly. But then, who was there for me, like, in just my childhood? That's someone else. Like, there's just different phases, different seasons. So it's like...
It is a hard thing.
You've all done something.
That's very hard.
For me that got me here, I feel like.
That's valid.
And... Yeah, I just didn't want to offend anybody. I felt way bad. I was like, you all deserve it.
Katie's the same way. She asked them straight up, like, who would absolutely lose their shit if they weren't my maid of honor?
Yeah.
And there was, like, 4 chicks. And,
I knew all my friends are pretty chill. They're not way drama, but I knew that there was a select few that would be more...
Offended?
Or just kind of bummed, or, like, sad, you know?
Yeah, bummed out.
Yeah. I guess I think there was a few of them who thought it could be me.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them kind of knew it's probably not.
Yeah.
But it was more than one, and I was like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Just as long as you're all there.
Yeah. This one that was Disneyland?
Yeah. Disneyland was a good memory as a kid. We went a couple times. Mm-hmm. And...
What's your favorite ride?
Oof. Back in the day, Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Pirates. That was always good.
When was the last time you went? 2016?
No, we went again after that, remember? We went, just me, you, and the parents, and one of our aunts.
2016? Oh, we went again after that?
Yeah, we went with Hudson and...
Oh, shit. Yeah, we did.
Haley and them.
That was like 2020. I don't know why I shouldn't have forgot about that one.
February 2020.
February 2020, right before, because I remember walking on a certain spot across the bridge in the California Adventure side, right by the, whatever, some bridge, and some little kid was like, said something about the coronavirus.
Yeah, I literally, right before we went, lost my job because of it.
Yeah.
Next week, hops on a plane, goes to...
Yeah.
I'm like, where's...
I was like, it's in
money?
Wuhan, China. I'm chilling. No. And then I remember being kind of like a menace about it. I was like, I heard that the first dude in Utah got it. I was like, kill him.
Oh.
Yeah. Take him away. We don't need that here.
Sacrifice one to save the rest.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Get him out of here. But with your friends thing, Ellen, you want to chat about that?
All right. Yeah, we could use that kind of as a segue.
Yeah.
Ellen is our cousin and both of our friend, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, me and her have been friends for a lot of years, and we're both kind of passionate about similar things and health in the health space. And a year ago, I believe, last December, we sat down together and I was telling her how I wanted to take a class and become certified in something just to get my foot in the door to become maybe a health coach or something similar. And I started with Pilates, and I chose Pilates because of multiple reasons. One, it's a type of strength training, but it's low impact. And what I liked about it is as someone with some of the health issues that I have, certain sports are obviously harder, you know? And so I have to stay in the low impact area, and I enjoyed strength training, like weights, but I also my core focus wasn't to build.
Yeah.
So I found Pilates and I really liked it, and I'd been doing it for a couple of years just at home. And then after the C-section, because you have ab separation, you can't do sit-ups, push-ups, like typically anything that uses your core. And so that's kind of tough getting back into working out, you know, because I don't even know what I'm allowed to do.
Well, everything involves it. Like, you can't really move your legs without moving your...
And that's actually what Pilates is about, is everything stems from your powerhouse, which is your core. Every single workout comes from the core. Yeah. And so I use Pilates as my, recovery workouts, you know. And then I don't know, I just got results from it that I really liked, and I really liked the principles of it. Like, it focuses a lot on breath and precision and control and concentration, and it's also known as like a meditation in motion, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so I started to do that, and Ellen was on board, and she started doing yoga, and because we both had a hard time choosing, what do we do? Do we both do yoga? La-di-da. She hopped into yoga. I did Pilates. It was like a 6-month course. We finished, and then we're like, okay, what's the next step? And I looked into getting jobs in my area. There was none available. So I was like, I want to get some teaching experience, and we kind of want to host an event or some classes. And so we decided in January, the beginning of 2024, we're going to host an event that's a workout class that kind of just gets, I don't know, I think, a huge part was kind of creating a community and just sharing knowledge and letting people know that whatever. Yeah. And so we were having a hard time figuring out how to do that. And that's where the podcast came up, because how can we reach the most amount of people and create kind of that community where conversations can be had about health and wellness and things that aren't commonly talked about. You know, I'd love to reach out to all the girls now getting pregnant, or C-section moms, you know, new to it, of knowing what you can and can't do, because I wish that I had someone there to tell me. Yeah. And so that's kind of where the idea came from.
So you guys are starting a podcast.
Yes.
And you guys are going to be having a event. in January for your...
Yeah, so we'll be hosting a New Year's workout event at the first weekend of January, which I haven't posted a ton on that yet because I'm still working on everything behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But eventually, you can see that on our Instagrams and our socials.
Mm-hmm. What's that called?
Right now, it will just be on our personal.
Okay, cool.
Aiva Kelsch.
So I'll link both their personals. First, link in the description.
Yeah, I'll let you link the actual podcast and stuff once it goes live.
Cool.
But I feel like I'm not doing the best job at explaining this, but I don't know. Basically, yeah, me and Ellen teamed up, and we're just working on making our way into the wellness space.
Kind of making it back because you were doing the...
Yeah, it's where I wanted to be originally, but
now you're back.
Needed a little more holistic route of getting there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Your own route? That's cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. So...
But I'll have to do part 2 and hop on after the event.
I wanted to have you on once your stuff, or like once you actually had the pod, so I could shout it out or whatever.
Yeah, thanks.
But at least we could have her on before, and then go follow them and see all the stuff that they're doing with it. But that was a long good pod. I think we'll end it there.
Yeah, sounds good.
So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Part 2. Yeah.
I'd love part 2.
Peace out, guys.